Hello and welcome to the video tutorial how to create a Spring Boot web application. In this video tutorial, you will learn how to develop a Spring Boot web application with Spring MVC and JSP or ThymeLeaf. I am Nam Haming from codejava.net. Throughout this video tutorial, I will guide you how to develop a sample project with Java 8, JDK 8, Eclipse IDE with Maven. If you have developed Spring MVC application before, you know that you have to write pretty much boilerplate code just for the configuration, which you can use the same for almost projects. This repeated and boring tasks consume your time, which should be spent on developing a business logic for the application. And now with Spring Boot, things get a lot easier. With Spring Boot, all the configurations are automatically done for you, auto configuration with sensible defaults. So you can quickly jump on the coding business logic without worrying about the configuration details. To create a Spring Boot project, go to the Spring initialized web tool at start.spring.io. You see the default options are Maven project, Java, and Spring Boot version 2.0.4. Enter information for project metadata as group is net.codejava. Artifact is Spring Boot web app, and in the dependencies type web. To develop a full stack web application, you can click here to see more options. For example, packaging type, Java version. Here I change the package name to only net.codejava. The description of Spring Boot web application. Then click generate project. Now it will download a zip file, and I save it in a folder on my computer. Spring, save here. Done. So in folder and extract this zip file. Extract here. Okay, so we have a generate project Spring Boot web app. Now let's import this project in Eclipse IDE. This is my Eclipse IDE. I'm using Eclipse Oxygen version. Go to menu file, import, and select general projects from folder or archive. Next, and here choose the directory which you have extracted. On my computer I have extracted to Spring and Spring Boot web app. Okay, and you can see Eclipse detects the project as Maven, and click finish. Wait for a moment while it is updating a Maven project configuration. You can click on the status bar to see the progress. You see it is downloading various dependencies for the project. You see Spring Framework. So just waiting. Okay, finish. You see the generated project we imported here, Spring Boot web app. This is the initial structure of the project. You can see a lot of jar files dependencies for Spring Boot and the web starter. You see Tomcat embed, Spring Web MVC, the unit, many jar files. Let's open the Maven project file, the pom.xml file here. View is XML code. You see our project packaging type is jar, and you see there are two dependencies here. The first one is Spring Boot Starter Web, which enables web development with Spring MVC and embedded Tomcat server. And the second dependency is for test. In this tutorial, we don't need to use test, so you can delete this dependency. Save. You can see there's error here in the test class, so delete this class as well. Okay. And you can see in the package net.codejava there's a class Spring Boot web app application.java. You see this is the entry point class to run our Spring Boot web application. You see the annotation Spring Boot application is used. This annotation does magic work to start the embedded Tomcat server, configure Spring Dispatcher service, and so on to make the application up and running, and you don't have to write any configuration for Spring MVC. And this is a static folder under rc/main/resources. You put the static files here, for example HTML files, and this is a template directory, where you put the template files, for example, ThymeLeaf template files, and this is the application properties file. You can specify additional configuration for the project here. For example, to configure logging, Spring MVC view resolver, server port number, and so on. So this is a basic initial structure of the project generated by the web tool Spring Initialize. Right now, we can start our Spring Boot web application. Right click here, run as Java application. And you see the Spring Boot logo appears. And this is the login information you see. Tomcat started on port 8080 with the context path empty and started Spring Boot web application. Now we can use the internal web browser to try to access our website. Window, show view, other, type internal, and select internal web browser. Open. I move the internal web browser view here, so we can see better. Okay. So we have to type the URL as http :// localhost. The port number is 8080, and because the context path is empty, so we don't have to type anything after the port number. Hit enter, and you see we got an error here. The web page cannot be found because we haven't created any welcome file yet for the application. But you can see in the login message, it is initialized using Spring Framework Solid. Now let's try to see in Chrome browser. You see, it displays error batch 404 error status. Now let's create a welcome page for the application. You know, Spring Boot looks for the welcome page in a static folder here with the name index.html. So let's create a new HTML file here. HTML. Next, index HTML. Finish. Change the page title to my contacts. Spring Boot web application example. And we have the heading 1 in the welcome page, my contacts. and create a hyperlink here. Click here to list all contacts. The relative URL is list underscore contact / list underscore contact. So this is the default welcome page. Put it under static folder here. And now stop and start the application again. Because a Spring Boot application is actually a standalone Java application, so you have to stop the currently running one first and run it again. Now you can click here for Spring Boot web application. Okay, it started, and you can notice logging line adding welcome page class path results static / index.html. Now let's refresh the web browser. You can see this is the content of the index.html page, which we have created my contacts, and click on this hyperlink. You see an error because we haven't implemented any handler for that URL yet. Let's try to see in Chrome. Click here and you see. So there's a differences when the error appears between internal web browser and Chrome browser. This is default welcome page as a static page. If you want to have a dynamic welcome page, for example JSP or ThymeLeaf template, if you have a ThymeLeaf template file, you put it under the template folder here. And if you want to have a dynamic welcome page in JSP, you can create a controller class with a handler method. For example, let's create a new controller class here. Class, for example, app controller finish. This is a Spring controller class, so annotated it with the SI controller annotation. And write a handler method here. For example, string welcome. And specify the request mapping annotation for this method. Specify the URL pattern is /. So this method is responsible to handle requests to the website context root, which is the home page. Here you can return a view name, for example, index. Now let's print something in this method. controller welcome. Save the file. This is a very simple Spring MVC controller with a handler method welcome that is invoked when the visitor, when the users access the web application. Now let's stop and start the application again. Now you can see a login line here. Here you see mapped / onto public app controller.welcome method. That means the welcome method is mapped to handle request to this URL. Now refresh our internal web browser. You see we still have error, but in the log when you can see this message. That means the handler method is invoked. Let's try to see in Chrome. We got a 0404 error. Okay. We got the 404 error because Spring MVC could not find the view with the name index, and I will show you how to implement the SP view for this in the next few minutes. Our web application we display a list of contacts, so let's create a domain module class to represent a contact. Stop. I click new class. The class name is contact. Finish. And it has 3 views: name, email, and country. Generate getter, setters, and constructor. So generate constructor using views. Okay. So generate constructor using views. Generate and setters. Select all for the 3 views: country, email, and name. Click OK. And now we have a very simple domain module class, the contact class. Next, let's create a business class that provides a method to return a list of contacts objects. So create a new class, contact business. Finish. And we have a method that returns a list of contact objects. Contact. contact list. Sorry, this should be java .ut .list list contact equal new array list return list contact. We return a hard-coded list. In real life, you may need to connect to a database to get the contacts list. Here we simply create a hard-coded list of contact objects. List contact. Add a new element, new contact. Name is name, email, and country. We add, for example, add 4 contacts. The first one is Mary John. Email is maryjohn@gmail.com. Country is USA. The second contact name is Tom Smith. And outlook.com, England. The third contact is John Purcell. John123 at yahoo.com. Country is, for example, Australia. And the fourth contact is Siva Krishna. Email is Siva Krishna at gmail.com. Country is India. Okay, that's very simple. And in the index welcome page, you can see we have a hyperlink. Click here to list all contacts with the relative URL /list underscore contact. And we create a handler method in the controller class to handle requests coming from this hyperlink. Let's change the request mapping for this method to test. Now create a new handler method, for example, list contact request mapping request /list underscore contact, which is the URL pattern in the welcome page. You see here, it should match. And in this handler method, return the view name contact. Now let's retrieve the contact list from the contact business. Create a new contact business. Business equal new business get contact list. and assign statement to a new local variable. We need to put this list to the model, so specify an argument model here. Model add attribute. Attribute name is contacts and the value is list contact. Okay, this is a handler method in the controller class. Very simple, right? Now let's see how to use JSP with SpringBoot. To use JSP, enable JSP, we need to add another dependency in the pom.xml file. Open pom.xml file. Click dependency and we need to add a dependency. The group ID is org.apache .tomcat.embed. Artifact ID is tomcat hyphen embed hyphen Jasper. Jasper is the JSP engine for Tomcat. It is required to enable JSP compilation and execution with SpringBoot web application. We don't have to type version because SpringBoot manages the version automatically, and click OK. You see, save this file, and we will automatically update the Java files here. Open and you can see Tomcat embed Jasper appears here. By default, SpringBoot looks for JSP pages in the web app directory under the src/main directory. So you create a new directory here under src main new folder. The folder name is web app. Here you see, and without any view resolver specified, we should return the actual JSP file name in the handler method. For example, in this test method, okay, return test.jsp, and this test.jsp is expected to be in the web app directory here. So let's create a JSP file here as a JSP. Next, test.jsp. Finish. Change the page title to a sample JSP page. Heading 1. This see JSP page. And you can write some JSP code here to test its dynamic execution. For example, I print the current date and time here. New java.ut.date. Okay. Save the app controller class as well. Now let's run the application. And access our web application from the URL test. You see test here, enter, and you see the JSP page and the current date and time. Now let's test it in the Chrome browser. Test. You see the time in Chrome is different than the time in the internet web browser. That means the JSP page is really dynamic. So that's basically we put JSP files here under the web app directory under src main, and to follow the common convention and to protect our JSP pages, we should create a directory called web-inf here, new folder web-inf, and the files under web-inf is as protected by the web server, and create a new folder to put only the JSP files here. You can create other folders to put images, CSS, and JavaScript files. Now let's configure Spring MVC view resolver. Open the application.property files here. You can add a new property name is spring.mvc.view.prefix. This is the prefix is /web-inf JSP / and add another property for suffix spring.mvc.view.suffix value is .jsp. Finish. See the source energy. We have specified two properties to configure the Spring MVC view resolver. Now in the handler method of the controller class, you just return the name of the view. Here we just return name test, and now we should move the test JSP file to web-inf JSP here. Okay. Now let's run the application again. Refresh. You see, it is still working. Go back to the home page. You see, click here. We got error because we haven't implemented the handler method for list contact yet. So now let's Sorry, we already implemented the handler method for the URL list underscore contact here, but we haven't created the JSP page, the view contact. If you run it in a Chrome browser, you will see there's an unexpected error. This view could not be found. So let's create this JSP page. I click here, new, as a JSP file. Name is contact.jsp. Finish. And change the page title to contact list SpringBoot new web application example. We have a heading one tag here. My contact list. We use a table. The first table row is a heading row. Name, email, and country. Save the file. Stop the application and start it again. Refresh. And you see it displays my contact list, name, email, country. Now to display the list of contact objects in the model, you see we have a contact list object in the model, and to display the list of contact objects, we need to use, we can use JSTL. So to use JSTL, we need to add the dependency for JSTL in the pom.xml file. So here, click add to add dependency for JSTL. The group ID is javax.servlet. Artifact is JSTL. We don't have to type version as in Spring Boot. Manage is the version. Okay. Click save. And you can see the STL Java appears here. Now in the context.jsp page, we use the STL call tag, so we specify the ThymeLeaf directive here to use the STL call tag. ThymeLeaf UIE is http java.sun.com. JSP, STL call. Prefix is C. Okay. And now we use the STL for each tag here, for C for each. items is a collection, which is a name of the variable of the attribute name here, contact, and variable name for each object is contact. Now for each item in the collection, we create a new table row. The first column is the contact name, contact.name, then email and country, email, country. We need to specify border for the table with cell padding, for example 10 pixel, and have a blank line between the heading and the table, and center the heading, align center. Okay, so far so good. Now let's stop the application and start it again. In the logging message, you can see the URL / is mapped to the test method in the app control class, and the / list contact URL button is mapped to the list contact method. Now let's refresh the browser, and you see the table gets displayed nicely. You see. Now let's see in a Chrome browser. You see my contact list. Very good, right? Next, let's see how to use ThymeLeaf with SpringBoot. To use ThymeLeaf as a viewer technology instead of JSP, we need to add SpringBoot starter dependency for ThymeLeaf, and remove the dependency Tomcat and JSTL. So select this two dependency and click remove, and we add the dependency for SpringBoot starter ThymeLeaf. Group ID is org.springframework.boot, and artifact ID is spring-boot-starter-ThymeLeaf. Click OK, and you see in the XML code we have the dependency for SpringBoot starter ThymeLeaf here. Save the file. Stop the application, and you see ThymeLeaf jar files appears here. SpringBoot looks for ThymeLeaf template files in the templates folder here. So we create a new HTML template for ThymeLeaf here. HTML. Next, name it as contact.html. Finish. uh, you can copy some code in the context .jsp. For example, copy the title here, and in the HTML here we need to specify the namespace for ThymeLeaf HTML minus equal http. The first one is org XHTML, and the second is for ThymeLeaf org. Okay, and copy this code. Remove for each. For each is for the STL, and now we use ThymeLeaf, which is different. Here for ThymeLeaf, we specify the attribute each contact in the contact list, and for each table cell we specify the tag is contact dot name. Okay, copy for email and country. Email, country, email, country. Okay, we need also to center the table. Okay, that's it. As you see, a ThymeLeaf template. You see, we just change the view and the controller remains intact. We don't have to change the model. Let's change the view, and now let's start the application and test. We can add a text here to verify it is actually from a ThymeLeaf template. Now run the application. Refresh. We have error here. Contact.name. Sorry, my mistake. Now restart the application. List contact. Refresh. You see my contact list ThymeLeaf. Let's test again in a Chrome browser. You see. So that ThymeLeaf template works with SpringBoot. Logging is done very well with SpringBoot. You see, logging. logging message. In case you want to change the log level for all the log messages in the application, you can specify a property in the application.properties file. For example, logging level root equal a log level. So this we apply to all the loggers, all the log messages. For example, you can see by default the log level in SpringBoot is info. Stop the application. Now we change the level to 1 or display only the log message for warning and error. Now let's start the application, and you see our SpringBoot application has been started, but you see no logging message appear here because the log level has changed to 1. That means it's so log message only for warning and error message. Now let's set our web application here. Click here. You see there's no logging message appear here. You can also change the log level for a specific Java package. For example, logging.level and the package name. For example, package name netcode Java. Level is info. This specifies that logging message from the package net.codejava from the level info and above. Info error 1. Now let's run the application again. You see there are some log message line for the package net.codejava. You see automatically sorted by SpringBoot logging. You see, and other log messages from Spring Framework and other loggers are not shown. The default port number of embedded Tomcat server is 8080, and you can override this default port number by specifying a property in the application.properties file. Here you see our web application is running on port 8080. Now let's change the port number of the server. We specify the property server dot port. For example, we change the port to 80 and start the application again. Now let's test in Chrome browser. Refresh, and you see an error message. This site can't be reached because the port number has changed. And let's delete the port. Port 8080 is a default port for HTTP, so we don't have to specify in the URL. So just refresh, and you see the port number has changed. And you can see the default context path is empty, so you can access the application via localhost and then the URL. If you want to change the default context path, you can specify a property in the application .properties file here. Server dot servlet dot context hyphen path equal to the context path. For example, we specify the context path is contact app here. Save, and now stop and start the application again. Okay, now let's try to refresh this page, and we got error message because the context path has changed. Now we need to enter the context path is contact app. You see, we had to access our application with new context path. Click here. We got error message because the URL is relative to the server's root, so we need to change the link here in the index HTML. Sorry, you need to remove the forward slash here. Now stop and start the application again. Localhost contact app. Click here. Oh, it's still the same. Don't worry. You can specify list contact here. List contact, and it works. You see. Now remove the context part here, and remove the configure the port number and remove the configuration for login. Okay, stop the application. You know, a major advantage of Spring Boot is that it packages the web application and embedded Tomcat server into a single executable jar file. That's very convenient for programmers. If you use ThymeLeaf, you can use both. You can use either packaging type is jar or Word. But for ZSP, you have to use the packaging type Word. Now let's see how to package our web application to a jar file. For ThymeLeaf, we use ThymeLeaf. We need to run the Maven Go. Right click on the project and run as Maven build, and specify the goal is package. Click run. We got an error message view filler here because we need to use JDK instead of JIE. No problem. So right click here, go to Window Preferences, Java, install JIE, and here you can specify add standard VM next, and here you can select the directory of JDK and it will work. Java JDK 1.8. Finish. Check the JDK. Apply and close. And now let's run the Maven Go again. Click here. You see, it needs to download some Java files. You see, view success, and you can see a Java file is created here in the Tazit directory. You see, this is a project directory, and under here you go to the Tazit directory, and there's a Java file created here. This is an executable Java file for our web application. Now let's run this application. Open a command line prompt and change the directory to this directory. And specify the Java command, Java -jar, and the jar file name is SpringBoot. Enter. And you see SpringBoot logo appears. The application is starting. You see, Tomcat started on port 8080, and you see the mapping for test for list underscore contact. Now let's test our application in Chrome. Now we have to access our application via port 8080 and click here to list all contacts. You see, it works very well with executable Java file. However, the SP doesn't work with Java packaging type, although you see it works in Eclipse, but actually it doesn't work. Let's use the SP now. Tomcat Jasper and the STL, and the packaging type is Java. You see, save the file. Okay, and stop the application with ThymeLeaf. Change to the parent directory, and if you use command line, you can type mv and clean to clean the project, and mv package to package the project. You see, view success. And now let's run this new executable Java file. Change directory to Tazit and type Java Spring. The application has been started, and now let's test in Chrome browser. Click here. You see, we got an error message of type 404. The view could not be found. That means the SP doesn't work with the Java packaging type, so you have to change the packaging type in Maven to WUR. Here, change the packaging type to WUR to generate a WUR file instead of Java. Here, stop the application. Now clean the project and package again to a WUR file. You see now we have a Word file. You see here a Word file instead of a Java file because we have changed the packaging type to Word. Now let's this is an executable Word file. Now let's we can run this executable Word file. Okay, the application has been started. Now let's test in Chrome browser. You see, it works now for ZSP with an executable Java file. So to remember with ThymeLeaf, you can use either Java or Word packaging, but for ZSP, you have to use Word packaging to package the application. And that was how to develop a Spring MVC web application with Spring Boot in Eclipse IDE. You have learned how to use the SP and ThymeLeaf, and remember how to package the application with the SP and ThymeLeaf. The SP is working with Word packaging only, and ThymeLeaf work with either Word or Java packaging. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. I am Nam Haming from CodeJava.net.